The man with the dream in his ear lies back into the couch. An airplane zips overhead in his head, trailing smoke words behind it. He cannot read the letters, but he suddenly remembers an old Nat King Cole song and starts singing to the macaw, which suddenly touches down on a little plastic spoon protruding from a crack between the pillows. The couch is as brown as the man's skin, but not as heavy. He thinks of broad magnolia leaves, the strangeness of southern fruit, and then he crushes a blood orange beneath the dented sole of his white and yellow wingtips. Cool. Detachment. Sometimes the morning is a hinge. We swing awake into the earth after a thunderstorm, the light emerging through thin bands of clouds scurrying overhead. There is, I believe, such a thing as clinging to the edges of those clouds. Fierce wandering becomes us. We pin ourselves to the spot, cry out, the world spins so unevenly. To rid ourselves of all these earthly things, we dive into our bird. Asleep adrift. Then, as once we slept before, sleep drifts into us as drifts of snow are blown across a road. Gales on the southern side, from whence the snow, as it comes and goes, comes, then goes. And we, coupling together like rail cars on the tracks, which, in parallel, track the road as it grows and goes, so steadily up the steadily rising hill. And through the snow there comes a wailing from the still hard earth, all those submerged buds preparing to explode up into being, and in their being becoming more than us. Us in our stasis drifting like the sound of my voice saying your name across the evening ice. I tend not to say much about poems I write just because I think it's weird. But you know, we live in a wartime era, so I've noticed over the last couple of years that these war images have been showing up in my poems, and this is one of those. So. Shapeshifter. This morning the clouds gathered in armed columns overhead, the sky playing at war. But these are the Dundee Hills, not Tora Bora, and the bearded men on these streets smoke musky weeds and wait for checks to come. They do not come. Elsewhere, bearded men tend their fields, wait for the roadside to burst into flames or for bombs to fall from the clanging sky. Wisps of clouds like strands of a white beard. In sleep, dreams of poppy flowers bloom from polished Kalashnikov barrels. Bullets fly like doves. We have stepped so hard to misstep, and every step a mind tucks into itself beneath the soil. Here a crushed foot dances the Charleston, the tempo all fat threes and paradiddles. This isn't right. I meant to conjure a tree, not these branches strung with hanged clouds, these roads with legs and arms dug in. I am tired of grocery stores. The cart with the broken wheel spins wildly toward bananas. A woman with a bird in her hair falls asleep deciding which tofu will make her hips look fattest. A man stands behind her, staring at her ass, his mind all pink and flush, pondering pornographies. A little late to the party, the produce guy lays out a spread of kiwi, Concord grapes, and mangoes. I have never been able to eat a mango. In the baking aisle, the flour revolts, jumps from its bags, and puts white faces on the brown people passing by. A pastor preaches by the dairy case. There will be brie enough for all, but only for the true of heart. My heart, the lying bastard, falls silent, curls up beside the bulk granola, tumbles into meditation, smooth or creamy, cheap or organic, fair trade or equal exchange, love or death, beneath the grim fluorescence and asbestos tiles. These are from two little chapbooks that I made, one a couple years ago and this one I made quite recently. So this poem is called Oracle. Over the river go so many old songs like girls in summer dresses teetering on bicycles. Bridges give way, shed the clapboard coverings, drawn in the clop of hooves. Some rivers go over stones, bone through mountains, become like the Pleiades, guides for our wandering. The straight course we forsook miles ago. Now we put our faith in acorn augury, the precision of ungentle winds, the pang of the heart in the hand. Even once when the child could see the gulls as harbingers, she put her hand deep into prophecy, pulled blood and rivers from the shell. All day she drank, dreaming of gods pulled into light by waterfalls, by salmon turning downstream to die. Just a couple more. Three more. Escape from the blizzards of no. Actually, I'll say one thing about these three poems, even though I think that's weird. The trick for these three poems was I just took a phrase and then repeated it and repeated it and repeated it and repeated it and let language kind of like slip out from each of those phrases. So, escape from the blizzards of no. But no, we could not burn even the branches that scratched our eyes and left bloody smears across our foreheads. But no, not a single one of us clutched tired dolls beheaded by smartened, fattened children by gingerbread fires. But no, the angels we swore would guide us abandoned us at the intersection of hope and hostility, where even the cold hands of the forgotten dead were warm enough to start a riot. But no, anything went. The bears under the trees pretended not to see us, stalked us through underbrush. Even the casual tidings, unwanted lovers passed, like notes between the branches, and the branches kept dancing toward us, dancing because death was near. But no one wanted to sing the final note of the song the fire made. No one wanted to eat from the last cup. No one saw that the bitter place was made less bitter by the ice and snow. Actually, this will be the last one. Deep in the forests of yes. Yes, we came under the branches, and yes, we came through the dark shadows and valleys forgotten by those that came before us, and yes, we had nothing in our packs but the crisp crusts of bread we made for ourselves on the day before we took leave of ourselves, crept out of windows we had glazed, and yes, we wanted to see what they could build over the piles of rubble left behind when all things crashed into all things, and yes, we wept for the ones who leapt. And yes, we were too callous to know what was coming down toward us at 1,000 feet per second, even though all the years we kept close to our vest, all the prayers we muttered under our breaths were not enough to calm the riots in our barracks. And yes, we were faithful to the one true God of our understanding, the one whose crown of thorns had fallen to our feet and burned the outlines of atheists onto the balls of our feet. And yes, even then, the soles of our feet burning with so much heat and light, we found we couldn't walk across even the smallest patches of ice, which fanned out behind us like oil slicks, tripping up the soldiers who followed in the snow, whipping their prisoners along the tracks we made. And yes, we knew we were the only ones left, so late at night, in this forest dark as any unlit tunnel, dreary as the black hills we never saw but knew existed in the hard eyes and the harder hearts of those who fell into the sand and stars. Thank you.